Hi everyone. Good evening, good morning, good night, good afternoon to whichever part of the world you are based in. For me, it's now nighttime uh, in Goa, in India, and I was thinking of what video to put out as part of my channel, Break Free and Live Your Best Life. And one thing came to me in terms of, say, the topic excitement. Uh, in my career and in my business and all the trainings that I have been to, one thing was constantly said, right, by my mentors, this highly successful people, which was if you want to be successful in whatever you do, you need to be excited, right? You need to be enjoying it. And this excitement, see, normally when we think about excitement, it's only the good stuff, right? But they say you should be excited regardless, looking at the bigger picture, looking at the light at the end of the tunnel and what you're going to achieve, which would mean that even if you have some temporary setbacks or some difficulties, right, you will be able to overcome them. So, when were you last excited, right? And I'm saying excited. I mean, it could be various forms of excitement. It could be a holiday. It could be excited about a promotion that you're getting. Excited about maybe someone you're going to meet. There are many forms of excitement, right? And the levels of excitement are of course experienced by people, but the excitement I'm talking about is excitement how or if it can take you forward in life, right? So I'll share with you one of my most exciting times in my life. I had many of them, but this one was something I remember despite being now over, say, 20, 26 years back, right? And it still is something I look for in case I need to push myself for excitement or remember a time where I was excited, right? So, about that time, I was working in a very big company, a retail company, okay, as an assistant merchandiser, right? So the guy who just helps with the buying, assists the merchandiser, the senior merchandiser, the brand manager, as a sort of a more of a support function, right? Uh, but the opportunities that you get to learn about the higher roles, right? In terms of buying, planning, budget planning, assortment, what you need to buy, you know, um, on the clothing. So I remember sitting there and I was doing my work and I saw my immediate manager coming up, right? And he said to me, he came up and said, Arvind, you're going to London. Now, if you'd say that to me now, after traveling so many countries, meeting amazing people, you know, uh, it would still be exciting, but not as exciting as that first one, where the first time I flew to Europe, to the UK, to London, right? And it was a big milestone. Now a lot of people fly regularly, right? It's much easier now, but in those days, it was a big feat if you had to travel, particularly if you're based from the Middle East, from India, to go to the UK. So anyway, coming back to that, I was so excited. I was waiting for the day. It was, of course, some days in advance that he told me, waiting for the day. I went to the so excited the way I went for my visa, made sure my documents were there, and I didn't know, it was just brimming with excitement, right? And I remember I was in Kuwait at that time. I went to the airport, and everything was fine. But one thing I was a little nervous about was my passport. There was a small defect where the photograph was coming out. So we had a bit of what do you say? Those days, passports were a bit different, not as sleek as they are now, and that photograph was coming out, right? And and as I thought, I went to the immigration, and he said, so the immigration, the check-in counter, and said the photograph is coming out, and we might not be able to allow you to board the flight. And I said, all my excitement was turning out to nervousness. But fortunately, it worked out, and they allowed me to board. So I still remember my first flight. It was an amazing flight. I remember the song I was listening to, which I still listen today, and takes me back in time. Touching down in the UK, rainy, cold, but amazingly beautiful, green. You know, getting to my hotel, right? Then the next day, getting to the company, and there was a new brand we were taking over. So basically, I was sort of being groomed to handle this brand. But the whole thing was, I was just I said, life is great, life is awesome, and the amazing learning here. See, when I share these things, I want to particularly focus also on the learnings and which have influenced me today. And the thing is, with that excitement, my productivity was the highest I've ever seen, right? And I say productivity not in only the technical kind of work, but also in my communication, my socializing, business away people. I mean, that my clarity of thought, my composure, everything I was surprised at the highest level I ever seen. And also the friends that I was making in the UK, and one of them was very kind enough. His name was Andrew, and I'm still trying to get in touch with him. He took me on a historical tour on one of the days which I had free of the UK. I still remember the places that he took me, and fortunately, he was a student of history, so that served me well. And I'm deep gratitude to him, Andrew. If at all you got to see the video, really thank you very much, right? And I had an amazing time there. The food was the excitement of food was tasting even amazing. And one of the other strange thing happened was, which I have to share. When I was going to the UK, I had this friend, and he had gone to the UK maybe a few years before me, and he relocated basically. And I said, and I was thinking, how do I meet him? And those were the days where your mobile services were not as great as they were now. There was no WhatsApp, there was no search, and Google, all that, and it's very you had to difficult to find this person. And an amazing thing happened, is that when I landed in the UK, and I remember I was debating, should I take a taxi or do I take a bus? The bus services are quite efficient. And at that point of time, I was saying, maybe if I take a bus, it's better. I might be able to save part of the allowance that I get from the company, and also, maybe see a little more of the if the bus takes a longer route. I mean, see part more of the UK. But obviously, if I recollect, it was the saving on allowance. So I come out of the airport, and instead of taking taxi, which is right out there, I walk across. There was a bus terminal just a few meters, And I go there and I couldn't figure out which bus to take. And so I said, okay, let me just look for something. And I just saw an office and I opened the office, and it just blew my mind for a minute, because over there was my friend's wife, right? And I said, how much of coincidence this can be? Of course, I met my friend. We had a good time. He took me to a place, right? He was very hospitable, and we are still friends today. But the second thing I learned, in addition to the first one, which I mentioned, which was the first one was my productivity went very high, is that somehow magic happens. Now you can call it law of attraction if you have watched the video Secret, or better read the book Secret. You can call it likes attract like, you can call it magnetism, whatever you want. But somehow I go back to that day and say somehow it worked. The excitement that I had, the energy that I was sending out, and the positivity sort of attracted that what I wanted to me, right? So this is the second major thing I picked up from that experience of mine. So I mean, everything was great, in the UK, trying novelty stuff like calling from those red booths. Of course, I don't know how much of that is being used now, but that time it was a great thing. Calling my parents back in Goa from the UK, calling my friends, telling everybody that I'm there. It was really fantastic, and whenever further from that, yes, I did travel a lot, and I did have a lot of ups and downs. But I always go back to that time where I felt I was blessed, gratitude to my manager. At that time, he's still a mentor to me today. He's based in Dubai, um, and who I thank for giving me that opportunity, right? Also the people who are there, and everyone who made that experience so memorable, and deep in gratitude. I'm grateful for that. And so when I look at maybe sometimes where life has not played a card fairly to me, as I would think sometimes, and look back at this, and I feel I was also blessed very well by life. And this is the third thing that I picked up from the experience. So just to recap, the first one, which I picked up, is my excitement boosted my productivity. Number two, magic happened, right? And number three, it always reminds me to be grateful and think of the great times that life has really blessed me, right? So I would like to ask you or request you to think about the last time you've been excited, or the most excited time in your life, and how did it boost you? How did it make you what you are today? Feel free to share with me if you want in the comment section, right? Will be all ears, and also be happy to hear your story. And before I close, I request you to please like this video, please share it to those who you feel this might maybe inspire a bit. And to end it, I'll say always be excited about life. Now, as I'm telling you this, I push myself to be excited every day, and even much more. And I have great benchmark of people that I look up to for excitement. So all the best for another week. Okay, don't forget to be excited in whatever you do. Based on this experience and based on some other experience I had, it will take you a long way in success, and also help you to live your best life. All the best until next week. Thank you.